Dominating today's news, Vladimir Putin's dramatic escalation of hostilities with Ukraine, and he's ordered the call-up of 300,000 reservists and warning the West he has the nuclear weaponry to respond to what he's labelled nuclear blackmail. We're joined now by ANU security expert Professor John Blaxland. Professor, welcome. The Russian president has declared he's not bluffing. How serious should the West be taking these threats?
So he's bluffing that he's not bluffing, because essentially what he's just challenged us with is something he's been saying for more than 7 months, since before the commencement of hostilities back in February. Effectively, this is a statement that goes back to the days of the Cold War. You know, the threat to Russian territory, to Soviet territory as it was beforehand, would invoke a nuclear response. That's not news. The fact that he's stating it again suggests he's actually a little bit desperate. But the circumstances, of course, are now a little bit different before because of the massive escalation. 300,000 additional troops, only 190,000 deployed in the original phase of back in February. So this is a significant ratcheting up out of desperation, having moved on from the special military operation, basically in effect conceding that that didn't work and that his plan was half-baked. He's now having to go drawing on, you know, the warmongering nationalists to placate them to a certain extent, and to, you know, save a bit of face domestically, and to pursue a course of action that is clearly been failing so far, and is going to reinforce failure with failure.
The response domestically must be a concern. What we're hearing is protests across Russia, people clogging flights to flee the country. What's your reaction to that? Does it mean that Putin's grip on power is waning there?
So it's probably not waning. He has a very large domestic security force that's larger than the conventional army that he's had, that is all about political control. And he is masterful at exercising that political control. But of course, the risk is that with going to get this 300,000 additional troops to bolster the army's capability, he will be irritating not just the standard protesters that you get sometimes in Moscow, but at a deeper level, you know, generating unease about where Putin's taking the country. And of course, the problem is also that where are these people coming from? What level of training have they got? What kind of kit are they going to get? And of course, chances are they're going to get old, you know, stuff from the Cold War era, if not earlier. And who's going to train them? How are they going to be organised? Let's not forget, the army of the Cold War is no longer. The recruitment bases, the training facilities of the old days are no longer. So you pull in 300,000 troops, what are you going to do with them? Treat them like cannon fodder? I pity the 300,000 troops that are going to be mustered, because effectively what we see today is that Ukraine is professional, it's organised, it's ruthless, and it's got precision-guided long-range munitions. And that is a game changer.
And it has NATO behind it as well. World leaders, including Joe Biden, have slammed Putin's latest tough talk. Could that goad him into further action? And amongst all of this, where is China sitting?
So China is increasingly uncomfortable about what's happening, because while it's kind of happy that Russia's relative power is waning, it's actually damaging China's moral authority by being associated with Russia's actions. And now this, you know, really aggressive escalatory language, the people who've been giving President Xi a lot of slack are now increasingly uncomfortable about doing so. And it's very interesting to see the dynamics in countries like India as well, that have, at the last meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, when they confronted Putin, actually called him out and said, come on, take the troops back home, effectively. And of course, Putin doesn't want to do that, but it's increasingly embarrassing for him. And he's increasing, the very fact that these people, you know, would turn up to the meeting late, that was unheard of before. Putin's power is clearly demonstrably eroded, and it's looking to be eroded even further.
So what's going to happen in the next few weeks and months then, do you think?
So the war is going to continue. It's going to take a while for these troops to get mustered and then to be, you know, channeled into the firing line, if you like, in Ukraine. In the meantime, what the Russians do have is the good old-fashioned techniques that they used to destroy Germany in 44 and 45, where they have massed artillery and the ability to continue to wreak havoc and destruction, in addition with some of the longer-range missiles with some precision to strike at infrastructure, at electricity grids, dams and things like that. So this is really, it's just a compounded tragedy. This is the hubris of Putin. This is a compounded mistake. There's no question mistakes were made on a Ukraine side and NATO side before February 24, but this is now all on Putin, no question. And this doubling down with the 300,000, pity help those people. And watch this space for the protests. As you say, a lot of people are going to be wanting to run away. Let's face it, who wants to go and invade another country? And when you get there, what are you going to find? You're going to find the Ukrainians, who are deeply resentful, are actually undermining everything the Russians are doing. In addition, the Ukrainians have got special forces operating in the rear areas where the Russians are thinking they've got secure bases, sabotaging, damaging, undermining the morale and the effectiveness and the capability of the Russians. So while, yes, they can throw 300,000 people at that, probably it's going to take several months for them to get there, but what are they going to do when they get there? More mincemeat. Pretty tragic.
It's fascinating, but the human cost of it, you reminded us of that, and that's so tragic. So, Professor, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. That was wonderful.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
Good on you. Thank you.